is brand?
Yes.
Bites?
Yes.
Tell me.
So with that question, I'm going to pose the question to you. What is brand? Who knows? Just throw it out. What is brand?
Company's identification.
Okay, that's good. Okay, well, obviously not a big response to that, but that's why I'm here. So, what we're going to do today is kind of a case study. We've worked with a number of clients, and the one client that we've worked with recently is the Homeless Garden Project. Are you familiar with the Homeless Garden Project? A really wonderful organization. And we're going to kind of go through the timeline of how we got involved with them, and then how, one at a time, we all kind of got pulled into this project. And this is something that we can do for you and for your clients. You can meet with all of us and see how all of the different services that we have available can help a client build a really brilliant brand. So we're going to start with one of the things that often the process starts with Robin, our brand strategist, and this is kind of, I call her the mirror, and I heard her calling herself that today, and she can explain a little bit more about what that means.
Yeah, so it's really hard to see yourself sometimes, and that's why you have a mirror. And what the role that I play, and every one of us does, mirror back to our clients how we're experiencing who they are, and we dig in, we all mine for the truth about what your business is and who you are, because there's something unique and special about that sets you apart from everybody else, and that's what we're going for. So that's what the mirror is, and then the bridge is the bridge that we build through the services that we do that bridge you to your audience, to your market.
Okay, so we go to the timeline now. Okay, so a number of months ago, I was invited to an interesting tour and presentation of the Homeless Garden Project's new farm that they're starting at the Pogonip Park. And I connected with Derry Ganshorn, who is the executive director there, really a wonderful person. And I kind of had my own perceptions. I think everybody's got their own perceptions about homelessness and the Homeless Garden Project and what they do and what their place is in this community. And after seeing that presentation, I was so moved at the change that they're making in people's lives, and it really touched my heart. And I immediately approached Derry and I said, how can I help? How can I volunteer? And they had been working, they have a lot of people that volunteer. I mean, anybody who experiences them and what they do, becomes moved in such a way that you want to make a difference there. And I said, how can I help? And I said, this is what I do. And she said, well, we have a graphic designer, but he's retiring, he's not working anymore, and we'd love for you to help us do some graphic design. So she called me shortly after that with just some updates to a brochure, and that was kind of basic. And then the marketing director there, Paul, approached me about doing a design on an infographic for a program that they have called Feed Two Birds. And so I started doing that. And as I started working with them, I realized that they could use the services of Brand Fusion. And this is all about, even though they're an organization, nonprofit organization, they still have a brand, and they still have an image, and they still have something that needs to be managed and needs to be put out to the public. And so I suggested that they come and meet with Brand Fusion and see what we could offer them. And they came and we had a meeting, and my cohorts here were, I think, equally moved by the stories that Derry told and the stories that Paul told. And they became excited too about the prospect of working with this organization. And so at the end of that conversation, Derry asked Taylor the $10 million question: what is the difference between videography and cinematography?
And there's a huge difference. We all know what a video is, right? MTV, video. Your camcorder, wedding, video. Cinematography is movement and emotion. How many of you have seen Bohemian Rhapsody? Remember the scene when he goes out on the stage? sits down at the piano and the audience looks like they're moving towards him and he's moving. That's cinematography. It's taking you as a business owner and putting movement towards your audience and putting your audience towards you. So that's what I told her I wanted to do with the Homeless Garden Project.
And so, Derry approached Taylor to film one of the trainees, a gentleman named Shelley, which she did. And I think we will link to that as a clip.
I emailed it, yeah.
I couldn't link it to you, but.
We'll make all that available to you.
Yeah,
We'll make that
yeah,
later.
Because it's a really beautiful piece that she created. And at the time, she realized that they were having issues with their website and they needed help with that. And they have a capital campaign for the Pogonip farm, and they approached Phil about doing some hosting and also to create this landing page for their capital campaign.
Yeah, we really wanted to help them out with their homepage, but they had another volunteer that they were just starting to engage with, and I think they were down a path of trying to help out their homepage. Their homepage is a little older style, and it reads more like a blog, and it's very busy, and there's a lot of information, and we have so many ideas on how we can help that out, but we didn't want to, we weren't able to, it wasn't just the right timing for us to be able to come in, but we offered to be able to help create a landing page for this Pogonip project, this capital campaign that they have to raise funds to do the structures that's going to be on the Pogonip farm. And I wanted to ask you guys, do you guys know what the difference is between a landing page and a web page? Does anybody know? What is it? Yell it out.
A landing page is sort of an adjunct to an actual web page. It's connected to, but it's just one page.
So, yeah, it's not the main page, right? So that's the common definition. It's just not the main one that you go to first. It's a separate page, but more specifically, typically landing pages have calls to action. So they have more detail about trying to engage the audience. So we created a landing page for them that talks about their new society. Let me see. Has a great video that interviews the key members, and they talk about the relationship of Pogonip to the city and where it's located, and you know what the farm does. But we guide them through about joining the campaign. We give them some information. We tell them how they can do donations. We give some infographics about how many acres that they had before and how many they have now, and what kind of job training capacity they're going to have with this new effort, how much food they're going to be able to produce, the fact that they have support from community leaders such as Nell Newman, which is a big influencer, what they're doing with respect to their 2 Steps Closer to Home campaign. There's the donate button at the top that takes them to an actual donate page. So it was really kind of focused, tying in how somebody can actually perform an action, how they can do something to help out this specific. So we put that in place for them. They're really happy. It's live. They were able to talk about it and point people to it, which is hopefully going to help out their whole fundraising effort.
So the next ask that Derek came to me with was kind of a much bigger ask. She said, you know, we need you to help us with our annual report. And I talked a little bit about annual reports last time, my last 30-second minute. And this was the annual report that they did in 2017, and it was Prezi, and they were very unhappy with the quality of it, and it had no emotional pull whatsoever. And this organization is all about emotions. It's all about helping people raise them out of really tough times and bring them into, give them homes, give them purpose, help them with drug addiction. So we decided that we needed some serious messaging, and Derry at this point realized that this is where Robin was going to come in.
So I want to tell you about this. This Prezi presentation, what we're showing you is made on Prezi. Prezi is great when you're in control of your presentation. But when you put it on a website and you want people to click on it, or if they're trying to look at it on their phone, there's no way. So it was already not a great choice. And then what they did on their last year annual report was they just did what a lot of people do. They took all their facts and they just put them up. They arranged them according to the information type. But is that interesting to read? No. So I sat with Derry and I extracted from her what was going on with this organization. She has so much information. This whole organization has so much to say, but that isn't easy for us to receive. It's too much information. So what I got to do was be a mirror with her and listen to her talk and then start to organize the material into a way that you and I, who don't have all of this close proximity to this material, could make sense out of it. And ultimately that led to the way that this annual report flows, which you can go to homelessgardenproject.org and look at, and I invite you to do that. But if we go down one more or two more pages and scroll down, really, talking to Derry, we discovered that belong was truly the message of this organization, that we all need to feel like we belong somewhere. And if we go down one more, this is a picture that Taylor took. And so we're really proud of how this captures really the epitome of this organization, that we were able to use this on probably the most important, one of the most important communication pages of this piece.
And when Taylor talks about telling a story, look at the story that this photo tells. I mean, there's so much in it, and most people think about when they're communicating something, they have to use every word that they've ever imagined to communicate something. And here, look how much a picture says. A picture, a word, and a quote says so much about who this organization is.
And so this right here, the graphic on the side, which Jenny put together with the material I extracted from Derry, it tells the story of how every aspect of this really interesting organization works together and how each of these people, it's just a top line of who belongs and how they belong. And the idea is, and always the idea is in our marketing is, how do we, and our storytelling, how do people see us so they see where they fit into our story? And that's what we were trying to do for Homeless Garden Project. I think that's enough on the annual report for now, or do you want to show me?
Yes, and so they decided to do an online annual report, and so to drive people to visit that report, we did create this brochure, and Robin has some to hand out if you'd like to take a look, a deeper look into that annual report. You can take a look at that, and so then I think we're almost out of time here. So so this is just the infographic that I created for. And infographics, by the way, there are several people here, Darla and Denise. I've worked with them to create infographics. It's a really great way to communicate something, like a complex set of ideas that's really accessible to your audience. So what is brand not, first of all? So a lot of people think brand and they think logo. So your logo is part of your brand. Your product is part of your brand, your signage, your website, those are not your brand. So it's logo aside. So next question is, so what is brand? So even if you haven't thought about what your brand is, you have a brand. You have a brand that you're putting out there. And if you haven't thought about it, then it's not in your control. So whatever perception people have of your business is the brand that you're putting out there. So what is your brand? Your brand is your story, it's your purpose, it's your emotional reach to your audience, it's the perception that you create, and it's how your audience and your potential clients see you and feel about you. So what is your brand and what is your story?
But